to notify that Mr. O'Connor is with us, so we thought we'd introduce him. It's Ro here, who's a candidate for a congressional seat here. Oh, I guess he left. Sorry. Oh, I thought it would be good to have Indo-American community leaders here as well, as there are common interests between the two, I think, between Chinese and Indo-American community, especially as regards to education. Okay, so let's turn this a little bit. For the opponent of the bill, I've read this book some time ago. There was a book by William Brown, president of Princeton University, and Derek Bach, president of Harvard University, called The Shape of the River, Long-Term Consequences of Considering Race in College and University Admissions, published in 1998, soon after Prop 209. The book is quite extensive, covering 45,000 students over 20 years, and examine their progress in school, their graduation rate, and as well as their success rate once they finish school. And they have found that the diversity in the student population is beneficial in every way, including benefits to other students who attend the university at the same time, as well as later on career successes and community activism after graduation. So for the opponent of the bill, how do you address this? Shouldn't there be some kind of criteria to allow this to happen since it benefits everyone? With Senator, would you like to go? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, taking notes. Okay. Basically, there's a book published that has concluded by very distinguished scholars from presidents of Harvard and Stanford that has concluded that diversity in universities that benefit students, both the students who are admitted under affirmative action as well as those who are in school with them, and in terms of their academic achievement in school and their graduation rate and future career successes. But if Mr. Later wants to answer first, that will be fine too.
There's nothing in being in opposition to SCA 5 that contradicts the conclusions you just quoted from the Bach book. The UCs are not lily white. They are not lacking in diversity. They are, in fact, the only group that has gone down in a significant way since the passage of Prop 209 is whites, which are down 36% in terms of their percentage of enrollees to the University of California. You have 37% who are poor. You have 4% who are African American, 27.5% who are Latino, 40% who are Asians. If that isn't diversity, I don't know how you define diversity. Yeah?
You know, I want to mention that the book that Albert just mentioned. It was written by the president of Harvard University, Robert Bach, and then Princeton University, William Bowen. The book actually is a study, an over 20-year study, following about 40,000 students' career, and looking at whether affirmative action, in other words, the use of race, as one of the many criteria for admitting students into the top-ranking universities, about 20 of them, including all the Ivy League universities, whether affirmative action program had in any way affected the life of these people, and whether it had deterred them from being successful in a university or becoming less successful once they graduate from the university. And the study really was very interesting in the sense that it found that, yes, when they were admitted into the university, their GPA and test score were generally average below the other peers. And then when they were in university, their GPA were not as sterling as the other people, but they also graduated. And once they graduated, they've gone on to become very successful in graduate schools and also in their career. And what was most amazing is that they found that these underrepresented minorities who previously were denied opportunities to excel, to prove themselves, once they graduate and enter into the society, they become much more engaging in civic and political affairs and become important political influential leaders in the society. And that is really what diversity is all about, is to make sure that everybody has a chance in America to, whether you're black, white, or Asian, have a chance to get an education and then to prove yourself later on in your career and your service. to the country. And I think that is a very good book. And by the way, the two institutions are still today using race as criteria for admission.
Thank you. Senator Huff?
Once again, we're blurring the distinction between private institutions, even though they're world-class, Harvard and Princeton, with California publicly supported institutions. All of us in this room are paying taxes to support our universities, our California state universities. California has one of the highest tax rates in the nation. We have the most progressive income tax, meaning the more you make, the more you pay. So you are funding this, and you should have a say in it. Harvard and Princeton are not funded that way, nor do they have this mandate to allow top students into their institutions. So whatever they want to do is fine. I don't know what their percentage of the diversity is. What I do know is, as a policymaker, we need to have policies that reflect the wishes of our taxpayers, and that's you. When you look at economic diversity, few people realize that while the state is paying half of the tuition and then the students are making up the rest, those of you that were paying tuition for your kids to go to the UC system or CSU, did you realize a third of that was again going for university grants for the ones that didn't have the money to pay for it? So they have Pell Grants, which is national grants. They have state grants, Cal Grants. Then they would get university grants made up with your tuition. Whether you were able to scrimp and save and do it or not, as we were, it was tough on us, but we paid that. So you have half of the students at the UC that pay zero tuition because they're getting federal, state, and university grants. So I would say that is a way to achieve the economic diversity that we're talking about. We are giving people a leg up. Everybody has a challenge, the previous speaker said. While everybody has a challenge, it shouldn't be based on the color of your skin.
You know, we should bear in mind one of the reasons why UC's student body has become much more diverse after the passage of 209 is simply this fact. The California high school graduates are more ethnically diverse. I mean, we have few, as a percentage of high school graduates, we have a lower number of whites, and we have more Asians and more Latinos and a steady number of African Americans. Now, what I think is missing in this discussion, which the opponents refuse to really address, is yes, it's more diverse, but we need to expand opportunities for all those who are eligible. It's not good enough for me to just say, oh, you know, it's 12, it used to be 12.5% guaranteed admission for those in the top 12.5%, and now it's 9%. And then with the 9%, it's a zero-sum game. It should not be a zero-sum game. We need to support our UCs and CSU at a much higher level so that all of our students who do the hard work, get the grades, take the A through G courses, have an opportunity at UC and CSU. Mind you, again, this SCA is not about just UC. We're talking about CSU, which is today turning down students because they don't have the kind of budget that they really need. Let's not be just focusing on UC. There are CSU students who for the first time are experiencing denial, even though they may be admitted. Even though they may be eligible, because there are not enough courses that are being offered. They have to wait 1 year or 2 years. And I think it's totally irresponsible for our political leaders not to address the lack of opportunity that needs to be there for all of our California high school graduates for eligible.
Thank you, Henry. I think we heard that message.
I just want to reach across the divide and agree with Henry. And if I could wave a magic wand and provide more money to the UCs and restore tuition to where it was when I was a freshman, which was $80 a quarter. That'd be great. And the second point, just to respond to the professor, when he kind of looked up to the Ivies and say that Harvard and Yale still use race. Well, you know that the average Asian American admissions to the Ivies for the past 20 years has averaged at 16.5%. Now that hasn't changed since 1993. And the Asian American college-age population since 1993 in this country has doubled. Asians have been the highest SAT scores, the highest national merit. There is no way on God's green earth that you could have kept the admissions at 16.5% unless you are discriminating against Asians in the admissions. It just can't happen. And so I don't think I'd be holding up the Ivies as the paradigm of the kind of admissions process we want here in California. Thank you.